Cindi Seddon is joining us right now from Bully Beware Middle School Principal, and this is National Anti-Bullying Awareness Week, and we've had so many interesting conversations, but one that we're going to have today involves the issue of homophobia in well, the world of bullying, and a lot of kids go through this when they're growing up. First of all, as a kid who's watching this right now, what is the first thing you would say to a kid who's being bullied and being called words that may or may not be even relating to them?
Well, regardless of gender preference, it doesn't matter if name calling is intentional, if it's meant to hurt or humiliate or embarrass or put down or exclude, it's bullying. And if that's happening to any of our kids, they need to be telling an adult that they trust, because school is a place for all kids. They all belong, they all matter, they all get to come in the door and feel welcomed, and that does not happen for all of our kids.
This is a tough one when it comes to the issue of sexuality, because when you're a teenager, your body is sort of developing, your hormones are sort of developing, and you may be starting to realize things about yourself that you may not understand. And then when you're also being combated with your peers who are calling you names and who are speaking to you in ways that hurt you, it's sort of two issues that are sort of coming together, isn't it?
It's a huge explosion, because it's particularly for our adolescent children who are questioning, wondering, or even clear on their sexual choice that is not heterosexual. Then they're already in the know, or they're wondering. And what we know is even little children who may not know what a gay person is, or what a bisexual person is, or what a queer person is, when they call another boy gay, fag, it is a put down. It's intentional, it's humiliating. So that language already is used for putting down other kids. So that's one of the things we need to address at a very early age. That whole area of sexual curiosity, wonder, questioning, or clearly choosing same gender, all of that stuff is it's such a tender topic for our adolescents. And I think our boys in particular become terrified that they might be called gay, and so it's better to be on the side of the people calling the names than being on the side of being called names, and it becomes more and more complicated and more difficult, and I think that it might be, well, we already know that our kids, our LGBTQ kids, are targeted and teased at least 3 times more often than our regular heterosexual, kids who don't struggle with those wonderings.
It's mind-blowing here, Cindi. I mean, some recent studies here that have just shown that perceived or actual sexual orientation, the #2 reason that students are bullied, appearance being #1.
Absolutely. Kids will, and although bullying can go right across the board, kids will absolutely target and tease a child, particularly if there's a vulnerability shown, who tends to look a particular way. A young man who looks effeminate, for example, or a girl who is taking a little longer to develop. They can easily become a target of very cruel behavior.
So a hugely important thing, I would say, for kids who are dealing with this is to have an adult in their life that they can go to and feel safe with.
And the research on this is very clear. In schools where kids who are LGBTQ feel like they have an adult who supports them, believes in them, and trusts them, they go to school more, because lots of those kids are actually not going to school because it's just too hard. They do better in grades. There's less alcohol and drug abuse. There's less teasing. There's more sense of belonging. So once again, as adults, we're called on to build those really strong, trusting relationships with all of our kids. In schools, in high schools where they have groups and clubs, support groups and clubs, there is less chance of those kids being targeted and teased.
And as a parent, if you have a suspicion that your child possibly is gay or is questioning their sexual orientation, and also maybe bullied at the same time, how do you even go about bringing that topic up with your child?
Very tenderly. It's talking about sexual orientation. I think sometimes it might frighten kids who are questioning about what sexual orientation, gender preference they have. And I think it's really important for parents to do that in times that are very safe, not push that issue, ask very carefully, how are you doing with this? It might be true that are kids teasing you at all? What do you think about that when they're teasing you? What are we going to do about that? How can I support you? Opening the conversation is okay. Pushing it is not.
And the important thing too for kids watching is that if you are feeling this way about yourself, it is okay.
Oh my goodness, it's absolutely normal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely okay, normal. That's part of what we are as a society. Everybody gets to choose, and they know what they like, and they need to be sure they're in loving relationships, and that's what's going to make the world go around.
There you go. She said it. Thank you very much, Cindi Seddon. For more information, bullybeware.com. Thank you very much. There you go, Michelle. Anti-Bullying Awareness Week, the expert right here on the couch.